Hi, welcome back to Michelle and Lori with Real Conversations.
Hello. We decided to do it again in the car because, well, we had so much fun doing it last time, and we still are trying to survive the smoke from all the fires.
Yeah,
So,
it's really bad out here, but today happened to be a better day. Last night was that meteor shower,
mm.
and it was the peak between the 12th and the 13th. And there's no moon. It's a new moon, so there's no moon last night.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
So I was bummed because I really wanted to wake up in time because I go to bed so early from work. I wanted to get up and see some meteors and watch them. And I luckily at 4 a.m. saw this humongous meteor just beam across the sky. I was bummed because there's been so much smoke that
Hmm.
I thought we're not going to see it. And this, the asteroid was broke up, I believe, over 100 years ago.
Oh,
So they're
wow.
all like meteors from that asteroid that was crushed. It ran into something and just broke apart. But
Huh.
so last night they were just beaming all over the sky and this morning. And so I actually saw several this morning. So I felt really happy about
That is
that.
so cool. I
Yes.
must be living under a rock because I haven't heard anything about
I
any of
only
this.
I only heard about it because a customer came in and was passing out maps and talking about it. I think he's an astronomer, and
Hmm,
so he provides awesome information to the community, which I
that's
post and I tell
awesome.
people because it's important. I think it's nice
Yeah,
to share.
definitely.
But last week we were talking about experience with the police. And I thought it might be helpful to talk about what my experience was and how I went forward. And I believe I remember talking in the first or second episode how my uh, when I left, another member of the church had kind of hunted me down
Hmm.
and found me and asked me to come forward. And I didn't realize that he had already been in contact with this lawyer firm in Seattle. I had no idea. So I was kind of surprised. He asked me if I could come and tell the attorneys my what I experienced in the church.
Hmm.
And at that time, I really was having a hard time even really separating everything in my head. It was a lot of confusion, a lot of emotional upset. It was very hard, but I met with four attorneys, and they had a criminal attorney there. There was a family law. There was financial. There was somebody else, and I can't remember what his role was, but there were four different attorneys. And then they said, you need to go to the police station and file a report. And that was my first time in a police station.
How long after you left did this all happen?
I left in February of 97, and this happened in April of 97.
So pretty quick, I mean, somewhat quick
Yeah.
that someone
And
contacted
then
you.
by August of that year was when they officially pressed charges on my dad and arrested him on TV. And I actually saw my father arrested on TV. It was quite disturbing. And at that time, I never told anybody what my name was. I mean, they obviously knew my name, but not my family. I did not talk about anything I'd been through. I really kind of became a different person and no real identity, honestly. And so when I was sitting there in the living room with my son's dad and his father, and here's the news comes on, and there's my dad and his dad. My son's father's father looked over at me and he goes, "Isn't that your last name?" And
Oh my goodness.
so I had to say yes, and then I had a lot of people had a lot of questions. They had a lot of them because they had met my dad through the Mary Kay company. We would do a lot of classes and meetings. And I had actually brought in as a customer my son's dad's sister.
Mm.
And so we, she had met my dad, she had met my stepmom, she had been in and met some of the people in the church. And because my dad was so good as a narcissist,
Mm-hmm.
charismatic,
Charismatic.
very
Mm-hmm.
charismatic, and the whole situation, you can create whatever narrative and whatever picture you want to display.
Oh yeah.
And he controlled that for sure. And so when my dad was arrested, she actually came to me and was very angry. They were people were yelling at me about how, what was I doing and how could I hurt him like this? He would never do that. She felt like she knew him well enough to know that he would never do something like that.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain to her that she doesn't even know him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was super hard. And then uh, after I went and pressed, like, finished the statement with the police, shortly after that, they had contacted me and asked me to come in. And I went through each, basically just kind of talked about the different things that abuse was happening, what kind of abuse was happening. And so I had to separate it in my mind and go for specific incidences. And so after I told them, I think I spent about 34, 35 hours total with the police department. And we sat in front of a computer. We went through every single statement line by line, read it over and over and over again. Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time with the police. And that went on for, well, from April until August.
How did they treat you during all of that? Were they pretty supportive, or were they because it's hard to understand for me, having never been able to get any help or assistance, how they would react to something that you went through like this, because this is a different type of abuse. It's not a husband wife, boyfriend
Right,
girlfriend.
right.
It's a family, a father and a daughter. So were they more supportive, or do you feel that they were just there to do a job?
I I felt the whole situation was kind of crazy because I was raised that police were not to be trusted. So
Mm-hmm.
that was very hard to sit and try to even feel comfortable talking to them. And over time, I got to know the detectives, and over time, I felt more comfortable. But every time they contacted me, my heart would like bounce out of my
Mm-hmm.
chest, you know.
Stomach,
Yeah,
your
I was
heart
just
fall to
felt
your
sick, and then
stomach.
I felt like I was giving up secrets, and I felt like there would be absolutely no way I could ever go back. Um, People finally knew things that we had kept such a secret for so long that um, I was very confused, honestly, just really confused about how I felt and uh, what was going on and what was going to happen. I was really scared for my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and they did tell me that, this is wrong and this is a cult and that's where you've come from. Both of the detectives, though, they were Christians. It shocked me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was in, that actually helped me so much because they were Christians. They understood the verses I was talking about. They
Mm-hmm.
understood just the idea of the Lord and what part He plays in your life, and the importance of having Him as the forefront of your mind. They understood that, and to me, I don't think I could have as opened up as easily if I had to explain that and try to get them to understand my heart with that. And so that really did make a difference.
I would imagine, especially feeling like you can connect with somebody on some level. Um, I had a question for you. Um, Overall, how did the attorneys treat you?
The attorneys were very quick, actually, because once I met with them and they directed me to go put in my statement, they were gone. They
Oh.
did tell me that the reason why they were there was other members of the church had contacted them years and years and years ago, and they talked to them about their statements. They tried to take my dad to court and have something happen, but they wouldn't come forward, and they wouldn't. If they did come forward, the police said that they would bow out at the last minute.
Mm.
And so I was the only one out of the whole time that actually stuck with what happened and told the truth and stuck on it.
Do you think those people who came forward years ago, do you think your dad got to them? Like
I
he
don't
might
think
have
so.
known?
I don't think so because usually people, when they left the church, they were out. They were far away, like they were in hiding. Nobody ever saw them again,
Mm.
ever. Like they were gone. They were so excited to be away. They were out of here.
That's yeah, that's it's such a crazy story, and the fact that people sat and watched the abuse and allowed it. I have a really kind of off the wall question. You mentioned that you guys did a lot of stuff for Mary Kay.
Yeah.
Did Mary Kay ever find out?
Oh my gosh, they did.
Oh, did
Oh
they?
yeah. Yeah, they actually in the newspaper they put out an article about my stepmom because she was a director and how she got to be a director. She was the fastest directorship in our area ever because she had recruited all of the women in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't as if we could leisurely say, I'm not really into selling, or don't really feel like high pressure sales is my gig. I don't want to do that. That was not an option. Like
Oh.
you were going to do it. And you were encouraged to put in a $600 order, but not just encouraged, we were required. So if you didn't put in that order, you were brought in for sessions, and you were, what are you doing wrong? What's wrong? Why can't God bless you? You're doing something wrong. Your heart's not right with God. You need to figure that out. And they would really dissect you and point out every flaw you ever had and anticipate flaws and create flaws
Mm-hmm.
and create a lot of confusion. And so you're going out trying to sell because you have to. So it's such a high pressure situation that you feel like you have to push. It's almost like going to the Bahamas and going into the markets.
I've never been.
The folks that they live in such dire straits
Mm.
that they have all
Very
these products
pushy.
and things to sell, but the way they approach you is very kind. Like
Oh.
they're so nice, but they're like, "You're so beautiful. You need these sunglasses.
Mm.
Oh, your husband would
Mm-hmm.
love these. Oh yes, please. Oh yes, we so." So you feel like they're so nice. You don't want to be high pressured, but you also realize where they're trying to work, where their income,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and to them, we're there on vacation, so we have a lot of money, it seems like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though that's maybe all we ever had, and
Yeah.
that's our vacation, and that's going to be a vacation for the next 10 years. But that's how I felt trying to sell Mary Kay. I would start at 8 in the morning, and I would not come home until 8 or later at night. I would go on all day because the goal was to talk to 100 people
In
a
a
day.
day? Wow.
And do you know how uncomfortable? Hi, how are you doing?
Well, especially.
Look at that lipstick. You need to try this lipstick. I mean, people are not welcoming that. They don't.
Mm-mm.
We're not used to receiving like vacuum cleaner salespeople coming door to door. We're not used to that anymore. Like years, when
Yeah.
our parents were younger,
Mm-hmm.
that happened. Door to door salespeople. That was a normal thing. Avon, door to door. All of those companies were door to door like that.
Oh yeah. What ended up? What did Mary Kay end up saying?
So they put in there that they would never have agreed to the gist. They would never have allowed her to be a director if they knew she had done this, and they were not going to let her represent them. That they were very upset with their representation, and that she was fired. And she got the car.
Mm-hmm.
She got the car. They came and repoed it.
Good.
Yeah, they came and took it back.
Good for them.
Yeah, they were not happy at all with their name being thrown around in our case. They were not happy.
Oh yeah. And how would they have known unless
They investigated.
Mm-hmm. Good for them though, for sticking up for what's right instead of how much money
Yeah,
they can earn.
yeah.
That's incredible.
And I think every one of the women that once that happened, I think they all got out of Mary Kay.
Yeah.
There was no, nobody was super interested. I mean, we felt like we had to. It was not a pleasurable thing. It was a requirement. It was a duty. And then you knew that if you didn't put the right orders in, then my dad and stepmom would not get a $5,000+ check. That's what they got.
Mm.
That's what they would get by
It's
us putting in the
outrageous.
$600 order.
And you lived in a fairly small town,
No, I lived in a pretty big town actually.
so you had opportunity to get more people
Yeah, I mean,
instead of the
I
same
I
old.
actually spent a lot of time at the library, going down to the marina. I mean, there's a dog walker. Hey, how you doing? Want some Mary Kay? Like, I mean, it was so awkward. Like,
I bet.
but I did. I spent a lot of time at the library and just kind of tried to read things and
Figure
meet
it out.
people casually. But it was hard.
I
Yeah,
can imagine. It's impressive to me that Mary Kay stood up for what was right. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely. So how long did the case actually take from start to finish?
2.5 years.
Wow.
We went through three prosecuting attorneys. The first prosecutor was gung ho. He was all about it, and he had information that they were investigating my dad since the 1970s, which shocked me. I had no idea. And then I asked my mom. I asked her if she knew that, and she said, I don't think that's true. Cops just tell you stuff like that because they're trying to get you to believe something. And I said, I don't know. They told me before we were potentially going to trial, the detective, I said, so what else has my dad done?
Mm-hmm.
What other things have you found? And my detectives, she wouldn't tell me. She said, you'll be able to go to court and hear the whole gory story. And I'm thinking, gory
Oh.
story. I mean, those words have always kind of stuck in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out what else. I mean, I think what we experienced was pretty gory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what she thinks is
Mm-hmm.
gorier than that. I don't know. So that's always just been kind of a question mark. And I really wanted to request all those records and really go through them. And I don't know. It's been several years now. And I don't know if those records are all still there anymore. I don't know how they keep records
Yeah,
for
that's a good question.
that long of a time. So I've thought about doing like a public information
Search.
request
Mm-hmm.
and putting that in and just seeing if there's anything. I would love to see those records and go back through my statement and just.
See
I
what.
mean, it's been a long time. I was 20 when I went forward.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
and too, when you're in it, there's a lot of things that you miss. I used to, after every court date, the next day I would order the court recordings
Oh, really?
because
Yeah.
in my mind, I always thought the judge would change it to favor
Gotcha.
his stuff, which I don't think that he actually could do. But when you're in the midst of all of that,
I don't know. At that moment, you're getting
you
taken
just
advantage
think,
of all over the place, so you
yeah,
don't feel safe enough to just trust that
yeah,
that's going to be okay. I
yeah.
get that totally.
And I could totally see the judge that I had doing something like that to cover his own self. But I remember just recently, within the last year, maybe year and a half, I tried to listen to those recordings. And as soon as I heard his voice, I went right back into a place that I did not want to be in. So I had to put it all away and just know that one day maybe I'll be able to do it. But I don't know. For me, I don't know that I would want to. Your case is different. I would want to know more.
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to know more
Especially
still.
with the things they said and how they said it. That's got to spark your curiosity.
Well, and I do think there was so much time that I needed to heal. I needed to because
Mm-hmm.
there was information I wasn't ready to receive
Yeah.
and learn about. And I think I'm in a different place now because my father actually was out of my life, and then he got breast cancer. Breast cancer runs high on my dad's side of the family, and I've actually already had cancer twice. So it's very high prevalent in my family. But with my dad, his cancer had returned, and so I hadn't seen him in 16 years, and we were bringing him closer to where we were with my sister and my brother, and because I got, like I said before, I got them all back into my life, And so I totally lost train of thought.
Your dad had.
So my dad needed a place to stay. So I had him move into my house, and I thought it had been 16 years. I thought I was totally able to bring him in my life, that I'm in control of my feelings, and I'm stronger than I've ever been in my whole life. I can do this. And I really couldn't. It really changed me. Um, Kind of brought me back to a place I had to kind of recover, but I left and then I moved away and the healing began. And what was weird was after I left, I really felt like I was in some kind of limbo, like numb. And I just knew I'm not myself right now. This is not me, and I've got to try to figure out where I'm at, you know. And it wasn't just depression. It wasn't just anxiety. It was a lost. I felt lost, and like I had no identity. It was weird.
Like trying to understand on different levels, maybe. I think it's very brave that you brought him into your home, and or brought
Yeah.
you brought him into your
Yeah.
home, right? And took care of him. Did he end up dying then, or
No, he actually was able to live, I believe, like another year and a half. And I, the whole situation was so interesting because, you know, I think you always still want to have a relationship, even if it's toxic, that bond with your parent. And I don't feel like my dad really had that parental bond with me because even when I was a baby, he used to stand at the pulpit and say out loud how, you know, he broke my will as a baby because I would reach out for my mom and he would hold me and hold me tight and let me scream until I got tired enough to stop screaming. He would not let me. If he did not want me to go, I was not going. And I was going to calm down and I was not going to refuse him. So when you're doing that to a small child, how are you supposed to feel? You're gonna do whatever they tell you to do when you're taught that from a very young age.
That's survival.
Yeah.
What did your mom do when he did that?
My mom, she got very sick when I was about 5, and had a massive stroke, and she went bedridden for 10 years. And my sister and my brother and I, my sister more so than myself, I was the youngest, um, had to take care of her. We couldn't go to school all the time. We had to stay home. We couldn't go hang out with friends. We had to take care of our mom, and that was cleaning her up of the vomit, you know, giving her medicine, and you know, just taking care of her, feeding her. And that was 10 years. And the medications back then, when they put people on medications, she just was out of it most of the time. She did not know who we were, what was going on, and so it was hard.
And they stayed married throughout that 10 years.
Yeah, and then he ended up getting with my mom's friend. I found my mom's back, and then talked her into divorcing him, making it her idea when she had no control. I mean, there was no fighting this, right? And he wanted to stand in front of church and present that it was my mom's idea. So of course they're going to get married to because they're getting her blessing. And she did not want to do that. She did not. So it was very hard. And then we just had to accept the stepmom as our mom, and I had to instantly start calling her mom. I got beat for not calling her mom. She beat me. She participated in the beatings. She was just as bad with my dad. My dad would say, "You need to get into her. She's never had a mom get into her before," and she'd just start hitting me, slapping me, punching me, shoving me, calling me names. Like it was.
Did she have children of her own?
Yes, I was forced to marry her son.
That's right. What was she like with her children?
Like
the same with.
Like she was perfect with them. She did have to hit the kids, especially before she and my dad got together, she really had to get into her daughter, and she beat the shit out of her. I mean, beat the crap out of that little girl. I think she was probably 8, 9, maybe 11, maybe. And yeah, it went on for hours and hours and hours and hours. It was insane. It was insane. And so after that, I mean, yeah, she would get into her kids only at being forced.
Where was their dad? Was he part
He
of the
had left the
church?
church. She and him, they separated, and he left the church, and she decided to come and be with the church and moved in with us, with our family, and the other leader of the church's family. We were all living together.
You should talk about having to marry your stepbrother.
That was awful. I mean, I had known him since I was 3. This was people that we grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember his father and my dad had this conversation back when we were little, and the his dad had recounted to me that my dad had come to him and said they should get married.
Hmm.
And he said, I think we should let them decide when they get older what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad had already decided I was going to marry him. And I was born in September and he was born in May.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember we went to actually a Mary Kay conference. And my
Of
dad
all things.
called me into his room and he says, so good news. I just want to tell you that you're going to marry Matthew. And I was like, I don't want to marry him.
Did he want to marry you?
No,
Neither one of you wanted.
no, we were forced to be in a relationship. We were forced to, and my dad would tell me, I said, I don't want to marry him. I don't love him. And he says, marriage is not about love. You
Oh.
grow to love. And
Hmm.
I didn't have any real understanding of what love was really from a partner or from a
From anybody,
companion. I
really.
didn't really, yeah, I'd only had known what I had known at that moment, which wasn't much.
Yeah.
You know, we were basic slaves. We were just there to do whatever they wanted us to do at any given moment. Not how are you doing? What do you need? It wasn't about us at all, and it should never ever be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how we felt.
What about with your mom? What was your relationship with your biological mom, not your
I didn't
stepmom?
really get to know her until after I moved back home to help her with my grandmother
Mm-hmm.
because we that's when we really built our relationship. We didn't know each other. I was 28 when she came back into my life. See, I left when I was
Mm-hmm.
20,
Yeah.
and I was 28, and I had found out I had the cancer. And I said, well, I just wanted to tell you that I have cancer. And my mom I've had to process this because she had to disconnect that parental line
Mm-hmm.
with me because I left. And my dad said, you cannot try to reach out to her. You can't try to be with her because if you do, then God can't ever get to her. Like,
Mm.
you're going to prevent God from reaching her because you're going to get in the way. So my mom just disconnected
Mm-hmm.
that
Thinking it was for the
parental
best.
line with me. Yeah, just to save her emotions and save
Mm-hmm.
her heart. Like, I think it was just easier for her. And I can't blame her for that.
Mm-mm.
You know, she was not unabused. She was abused. She was abused. She wasn't appreciated. And she did not get the best life that she should have been able to have had.
Well, and I would imagine with the way he probably was and the way that he controlled everything, she probably felt, and I don't know, I'm just saying as a mom, what it might be like for I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, but maybe in her way, that was her way of protecting you and letting God bless you and, favor and all of that good stuff because of what he was saying. If you're in the way, God can't
Well,
take care of her.
yeah, I mean, I think by the grace of God, I didn't go off track and I didn't go do a bunch of bad things. I mean, I had my lessons to learn. I had to learn some things hard and learn the hard way, but I I feel like she wasn't able to save us because she couldn't save herself.
Yeah.
And I really wish she had had the best life she deserved, because she deserved to be happy all the time. She was such a good person. And I
Mhm.
lost my mom. And such a good person, such a good heart, really truly cared about people. That was the one thing that everybody in church used to always say, was she was such a good pastor's wife before she
Mhm.
got sick, and everybody. And actually when she was sick, because she would come to church when she felt up to it.
Mhm.
And like I said, we would go to church every day, so we were always in church.
Yeah.
So she would come and they would just love her and love being around her. And I think my dad resented that and didn't want her to have that anymore, and took about ripping that out and putting my stepmom in that place.
Mm.
And I just felt like the whole thing was just so wrong, just so wrong. My dad even tried to pull me in and say, so he met with she was going to be my stepmom, and he's like, so your mom thinks we should be together and all this. And I was so upset. And my mom previously, one day she was laying down, she wasn't feeling good, and she says, "Can I tell you something?" My mom never confided in me,
Mm.
never,
Probably
because she
too
was
scared
sick.
to.
She was sick. She was not well. Um, the stroke. She had so many bad migraines. They were incredible bad. They're like one of the worst migraines you can have, and
Mhm.
that's what she lived with. And she says, "You need to watch." She goes, "Have you seen them together?" And at this time, like, she was there